Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. Happy Thursday. This is Fantasy Life right here. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you for the next couple of hours on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, breaking down, as you know, the NFL playoffs and everything you need to know if you're playing in any contest this weekend, or you just want to, know everything that's going on. We're here to help you. And of course, Fantasy Life is as well, fantasylife.com. Adam, happy Thursday. How you doing? How's it going?
Yeah, doing well. Another day closer. We've got all these playoff drafts, guillotines to get in. So, yeah, it's crunch time.
Oh, it's fun. I think we need to move to double chops now. Have you done one of those yet? The
I
double
have
chops?
not. No, I have not done the double chop.
They're difficult. Let's just say that because it's double the amount of people because it's 2 chops per week. So you can't actually wait for Matthew Stafford because ask me how I know. I did that yesterday and it wasn't fun waiting on a quarterback because I was stuck. It's fine, but those are fun.
A little tip for those doing guillotines, right? So it's 5 people in the league. So if you wait on quarterback and 4 others have a quarterback, you can wait till the last round to get your quarterback.
Yes, because no bench. That's the best part
exactly.
of it.
So
There's
I
no
did
bench.
that. I did that yesterday, and still got Stafford again.
You know, you're going to be really upset if he just doesn't.
Yeah, if the Rams lose this week.
All your teams with Matthew Stafford are not going to look very good. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's true, though. But I've always said this, though, about fantasy football in the playoffs. You really do have to make a stance in most formats. And sometimes you will be wrong. So that's part of the game. It's really difficult. Now, guillotine a little bit different because it's week to week. And you obviously have a team that's getting chopped and you can pick up their players. Yeah. So it's a little bit different. You still want to try and get a few players in your draft that could make the Super Bowl. But in these drafts, you really want to make a stance and go all in on a couple of teams. If you spread it out, it doesn't usually work out.
Especially in those, not necessarily equating to guillotine leagues because those are a little bit different. But in those contests, those big contests that a lot of people are doing, which everyone should try and get in them because they're just so fun. And it's really nice to honestly, Adam, get back into a draft room and just figure out what you're doing. But we talked about this yesterday. But when you say take a stand, like I take a stand so far where when I build some of my teams before I go into those draft rooms, we talked about this yesterday a little bit, but I just want to make sure I've got 2 teams that I think are going to make the Super Bowl in this draft specifically, and I'm going to draft based on those ideas. Who's going to beat who this weekend, of course, but I go from Super Bowl backwards, and so you have to take a stand. Like some of these, what I've noticed recently that a team that I'm taking a stand on that I did not think I was going to, and it could really mess me up starting this weekend is the Buffalo Bills. I'm taking James Cook. I'm taking Josh Allen. Those are really the only 2 because I don't think people are rushing to get Khalil Shakir or anyone else on that team. But I've got a lot of teams with James Cook on them, especially if you're, in one of those situations where you're the 2nd, 3rd overall pick and it comes back around to you. Like I've got a couple teams with him on it, and I'm really nervous about it. I don't know if that's going to work.
Yeah, that would be the team to be nervous about. Again, I think that's a key game this weekend. And yeah, a lot of people think Buffalo can make a run and get to the Super Bowl. And then I think there's others that think that they can't beat Jacksonville. So if you do have a lot of Bills players, you will be very nervous this weekend because the key is getting past this game on the road in Jacksonville.
Sure am nervous. Thanks. I appreciate that.
No,
because you're on the other side. You're on Jacksonville probably this weekend, right? I know we haven't gone through our official predictions, but it feels like you're kind of on their side. I mean, and it makes sense. They've looked so good. They ended the season red hot. You've got Trevor Lawrence that it just feels like everything came together in one weekend, and then it just didn't stop. Like everything almost clicked in one weekend, and then we were talking about this team that could go far in the playoffs, and here they are. They're hosting again Buffalo with this one. They're the 3rd. They're the 3rd seed. So the momentum's in their direction, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think it's probably the toughest game to pick this weekend. And you can make a case that the winner could be the favorite to get to the Super Bowl. I think it's that much of a game that has an impact on our postseason team. So, yeah, I think it's a tough game to call. I do lean Jacksonville.
We'll see. We'll see. Well, I'm obviously leaning Buffalo because of my drafts. When I looked back at my exposures and I said, "Oh no, look at all that James Cook." But
Well, the
I
good thing
think
is if they get eliminated and you survive, you get to replace them.
exactly. There you go. In the other contest, not so much, but
No.
that's fine. I'll just I'll just try and work around that. We'll have Kenneth Gain. Well, no, they'll probably be eliminated too, so it's fine. But those are so fun. And again, guillotineleagues.com is where you can go and sign up for those playoff contests. And we'll tweet out some more here later today because we did a couple yesterday. We'll open them up to the bigger double chop contest. So just know in those double chops, it's exactly how it sounds. You have 2 people being chopped per week, and you have double the amount of people entering those drafts. So just keep that in mind when you're going into the draft room. We've actually got news this morning. I was only going to go through, there was really nothing coming into the day. I was going to go through some of the injury reports that we're expecting for Saturday's games across the NFL, but we did get news, and I wrote up Todd Bowles is returning as the Buccaneers head coach in 2026. But just now from Adam Schefter, they are moving on. They have fired their offensive coordinator, Josh Grizzard, after he served just 1 season on the job. And they have also, it looks like, per Jeremy Fowler, moved on from their quarterbacks coach as well. So a little shift in offense here, Adam, because at the end of the day, it did not look good this year. And we talked about Baker Mayfield regression a lot in the offseason, but I don't even think I could have predicted it being this bad. Like him coming back down to earth this much. This offense was really stagnant at times. And I know when we look at it too, I mean, they had the injuries right across the offensive line with Godwin, with Mike Evans, with Jalen McMillan, all at one time. And Emeka Egbuka was their strongest player out there at one point. But it just didn't look good. So when we're looking at this, I mean, this is going to be their 5th offensive coordinator in 5 years under Todd Bowles. And at some point we thought Baker Mayfield was like, okay, well he's immune to it. It doesn't matter because he was putting up good fantasy numbers, but this felt like the first season where it really came back to bite him and he wasn't able to perform with a new offensive coordinator in there with Josh Grizzard. So again, this will be their 5th one in 5 seasons. That's not great.
No, it's definitely not. And coming in trying to replace Liam Cohen, obviously not ideal either. And there was a multitude of factors of why this didn't work. Mayfield, obviously, look, we all knew it that he was going to regress, that he was not going to continue to put up the numbers he did last year. His touchdown percentage was 7.2%.
Yep.
He went right back to where he was in 2023. It was 4.9% in that year. It was 4.8% this year. So we all knew he was more of a 26 to 28 touchdown passing guy. Now, not having Mike Evans there, Chris Godwin coming off the injury, coming back, getting hurt, coming back, relying on Emeka Egbuka as your number 1, which worked well early, and then the connection fell off. Jalen McMillan missing most of the year, the offensive line issues, Bucky Irving being out, and Baker Mayfield likely playing through injury too. I mean, he was on the injury report several times with different injuries. He definitely was not the same either. He just missed a lot of throws. So there was a lot of reasons why this didn't work. And it's more glaring just because you didn't win this division, which was so easy. And they should have,
yeah.
and they had it. They were in control and, flopped down the stretch. So it's not surprising to see, but there are a lot of reasons why this did not go as smooth as it did last year.
Yeah, it was just not good. And I think for us with the fantasy impact, I mean, obviously all these players going into 2026 are going to be a little bit more discounted. I don't want to say a huge discount, Adam, because we know how we get when it comes to, flashes of what Baker Mayfield has shown us before in the past. And you say, okay, if they get a new, depending on who they hire, if they get a new offensive coordinator and we like them, then maybe it'll change things. But Emeka Egbuka for sure will be the one that probably just really changes with his ADP, because that was a big disappointment this season. It almost felt like, Adam, when we were watching the back half of the season, it almost feels like he totally flipped what we usually talk about with rookies, right? He started off strong, and usually it's the opposite, where these rookies take a little while, maybe a little after their bye week, after the halfway point in the season, and then they really start to turn things on. But it was the complete opposite with Emeka Egbuka, and I think that's what really killed a lot of teams down the stretch as well. It killed some of mine, or it made it a lot more difficult to get those wins week in and week out, because you weren't able to rely on him. And he, down the stretch, just really faded. And it was unfortunate because we know the talent's there too. And I think, when we talked about it, they put a lot on his shoulders. And I think it was a little bit probably too much as a rookie. I do believe that he can bounce back from it. But you had a stretch where you probably benched him after week 13, week 12. I mean, he had a stretch of 10 or less fantasy points after week 10. He was almost unplayable.
Yeah, it was really bad because it looked like a great pick early on. You felt really good about it, and then it just became tough to watch where there just were drops, there were throws that weren't even close to him. It was a really weird situation. And then I forgot what week it was, maybe 17, that Grizzard came out and said, yeah, we got to get Egbuka going early and get him the ball early.
Yeah.
And they did not do it. It did not happen. It's like, okay, so why are you saying this stuff, man? You trying to gas fantasy players into starting them again in a critical week? So, yeah, it was tough. But, I mean, again, he's a talented receiver that was drafted in round 1 and probably asked to do too much, put pressure on himself, too, as the drops started to come. And, you still look at this team. I mean, Evans another year older, Godwin another year older, so there's still an opportunity for him there. So I'm hoping that he's a lot cheaper.
I think he has to be, right? There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 probably is the area where he's gonna go.
Right? Would you like 5th round price tag, 6th? Maybe 6th to start.
Yeah, maybe 6th or 7th potentially.
Yeah, I think I'm thinking about it right now. If we had a draft and he was there, I would probably take him, to be totally honest with you. We've seen it. The thing is, we've seen it, what he can do, right? Mm-hmm. But Chris Godwin's still expected to be there because of that contract that he signed. Mike Evans, I believe, as well. I'll have to look at that contract. I don't have the free agent stuff up yet. But I don't know. I think we saw flashes in those first 5 weeks of the season. It was really only 5 weeks, though, Adam. Now that I'm actually looking at it, he had a big game in week 10. 23.5 fantasy points, and then that was it. So we had 6 good weeks from him. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, the offense wasn't good, though, either.
I
mean, they didn't have Bucky Irving. I mean, that hurt the running game. Rachaad White's a free agent. He's likely gone.
Yeah. I don't know. Overall, this team needs a little bit of a refresh, to say it nicely. So again, you've got Todd Bowles coming back, because there were rumors too that maybe he was gone, Adam, and I didn't necessarily think that was going to happen, but it does make sense. So, okay, they keep Todd Bowles, and then they make full changes to their offense. So again, their quarterback's coach has been fired. Their offensive coordinator has been fired. So searching for their 5th offensive coordinator in 5 years. Baker Mayfield's probably sick of it too. He's just like, can I get some consistency? It's probably very hard to thrive as a quarterback when you have changes every single year. I think you can try, and he showed it with Liam Cohen, but it also looks like Liam Cohen was just really good at his job too, based on what he's showing us in Jacksonville. But it has to be so hard to be a consistently good quarterback, obviously, when you don't have the same offensive coordinator for even 2 seasons. That's tough.
Yeah, it is. That constant change, learning a new system, new calls. So yeah, it is difficult. And we talked about the total points in fantasy, how it could be misleading. Egbuka was 21st in total points, a receiver, right? It doesn't feel like that at all.
Yeah, no, it feels like he should be in the 40s, maybe.
Yeah, double digits one time in PPR from week 11 on.
That's bad.
So again, that's why, because the total points just don't tell the story, because you're like, oh wow, he was 21st, he had a good year. He really didn't, because there were just too many weeks where he gave you such a low floor. He didn't score a touchdown after week 10.
Nope, it was awful, genuinely. How many teams do we have him on? I had him on
a lot. I felt in the first 5 weeks, I felt really good. That's why you can't have victory parades early, because you can really look foolish after.
It was awful. Yeah, if you want to mess with your league mates, just send them total points, and then they can just say, hey, draft based on the total points from 2025, because there's going to be a few of them. Well, we talked about Zay Flowers yesterday.
Yeah.
That would mess some people up, because people might look at just the total points with Zay Flowers and say, oh my goodness, this is perfect. I'm gonna get him in that 4th round. No, it was not. We had the same conversation 2 years ago with Kyler Murray, drafting him as QB12, still finished as QB12, but you had weeks where he completely buried your fantasy teams, and that happens every year.
And it's a lot of it is because you had receivers that were injured and missed a lot of time. So like a Drake London, right? He's down there. Jefferson's down there because of the quarterback play. So when you have all of those guys push down Brian Thomas, who was a disappointment, Marvin Harrison, who got hurt. So it's going to push other guys up. But yeah, it really wasn't like a great year. When you look at the total points and the gap from like the top guys, it really drops off quick because you had Puka and JSN way up top. They were about 50 points more than Amon-Ra St. Brown. Then you had Chase and then Pickens. But like from Pickens was 5th at 289 in PPR, right? Number 10 was Wan'Dale Robinson at 217.4. That is a massive drop off from just 5 to 10 alone.
It's Wan'Dale Robinson. I kind of forget about him every year.
Yeah.
Because what do we call him before? Ian Hartitz likes to call him a scam, a PPR scam. But I don't know. This season,
he was better this year. I mean, again, still
year,
not a big touchdown guy. That's the thing. But he had way more targets this year. Well, the yardage wise. Like 2 years ago, it was like 80 catches for 140 yards. This year, it was a lot better.
They have some pieces over there too. I was thinking about the Giants yesterday. I was thinking about Jaxson Dart and Cam Scatteraboo. And especially the timeline for Scatteraboo, and then Malik Nabers too. Because I was having a conversation with someone saying that I think Malik Nabers is probably going to go outside the first round of drafts. Because if I think there's going to be a lot more running backs again this year going in, like I could see 6 or 7 running backs going in the first round, and then that leaves five wide receivers, and I don't think Malik Nabers would be in that. It would be in that 5.
A lot's going to depend on his health. I know he made a comment the other day saying, I'm not going to come back till I'm completely healthy. And people hear that like, oh, no, is there something wrong? But we have time to see.
Yeah.
But that's going to be the key for him. If not, he probably won't go in the first round unless he comes back and the reports are great. And then all of a sudden, he moves up.
Then he's expensive again. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am excited. I was looking at this team. That team is going to be, depending on who they hire as a head coach too, that could be an interesting team because they weren't necessarily, they were awful with Dable, but I mean, that team as a whole feels like, again, they have pieces. Giants fans are probably listening and rolling their eyes saying, how many times have we heard that? And how many times has Adam laughed at us? But I'm just saying, for fantasy football purposes, there are some pieces in there. If they can, like you just said, get healthy and get on track to go week 1. Yeah, it'll be an interesting team, especially Jaxson Dart. I still hold firm on that idea that he probably is a top 8 quarterback going in fantasy drafts. Again, depends on who they hire, but I think at least inside the top 10.
I think that will be a factor. I'm hoping they mess it up, but
don't say that.
Why not?
It's your problem. Leave these poor Giants fans alone.
No, I'm not leaving them alone.
You don't know peace.
Dart's probably gonna go. Yeah, I'd say probably 7, 8, 9 area of quarterback, somewhere around there is likely where you see him go. Again, a rushing quarterback raises the floor, and you just have to hope that he's not as violent in seeking out contact and learns when to go out of bounds, learns when to go down. Because if not, it's going to be a difficult time staying healthy. But getting Nabers back is going to be massive because, he had that good fantasy season without Nabers. He didn't do it with the best receiving core. So if Nabers returns, that's just massive for him. And if they do bring in the right coach, they can take a step up because there are pieces here.
Remember when I spent $250 on the waiver wire in GST for Darius Slayton? Ask me how many times I started him.
Twice.
0.
No, you never started him?
Adam, he got hurt, and then I had other players. Then I had good other players come up off the bench. I had Alec Pierce come up. I might as well have lit $250 on fire. It was so annoying.
Well, I spent over $300 on Michael Carter. I did start him more than once, but yeah.
He was wait a second.
He gave me a couple. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
He had a couple good weeks. Then I wound up cutting him, and then I tried to get him back after because I also
That's always the worst when you do that.
I also picked up Bam Knight, and that worked out well.
You know what? I lied. He did not have. Never mind. I thought he had 1 or 2 20-point days, but he had like a 13.4 fantasy game against Houston, and then 11.4 against Tampa.
What week did he take over? Was it the Tennessee game?
Yeah,
I think it was. No, he had a week of
18.3.
Yeah. I mean,
week 5. Was he in there that long? Michael Carter, really?
No, so it was Carter and then
DeMarcado?
Bam
Oh, Bam
DeMarcado, Bam Knight. They kind of mixed
Got
it
it.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a mess of a backfield.
Because it was
Oh my
Connor, then
goodness.
Benson.
We should play a game that's like name as many Arizona Cardinals running backs as you can, and then someone gets a prize. Because there's been a lot. There's been a lot over the past 2 years. I mean, James Conner. James Conner stayed healthy last season somewhat. I
Yeah.
think he missed one game. Yeah.
He got hurt towards the end. The worst part about Connor last year, though, was I believe it was championship week that people started him.
And then it was DeMarcado that went off, right?
Yeah.
Was it DeMarcado was the one that if you picked him, which I don't remember if people did that because it wasn't necessarily last minute. We kind of knew, but DeMarcado had a huge game. He had that huge run. I remember along the right sideline for a touchdown that was like big. Name as many Cardinals running backs as you can. No, I'm just kidding. We'll do it in the break. We'll figure it out. We're going to keep going, though. We're going through some more just key fantasy questions. And, of course, today we are breaking down all these upcoming games. So we are going to talk through the Rams going up against the Panthers. That is the first game on Saturday. And then, of course, we got to break down the Bears going up against the Packers. Some more news when we're talking about injuries going into the weekend as well. We're breaking it all down right here. Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio coming up next. Happy Thursday, everyone. Getting you ready for the NFL playoffs. We've got games kicking off on Saturday, but don't worry, we've got also college football tonight, Adam. That's always fun. Why not? We just love football.
Yeah, it's a great 5-day stretch of football starting tonight with the college football playoff semis, Miami and Ole Miss.
It'll be a great game. You said you're taking Ole Miss in that one?
Yeah.
Nice. I went to the store, got stuff for grilled cheeses tonight. And tomato soup.
Grilled cheese and tomato. That's what you're doing tonight?
For dinner? Yes. Yeah. What? What do you?
Oh yeah, that's right.
About?
You go to bed at like 4 p.m. So.
What does that have to do with anything?
I mean,
I'm just saying grilled cheese and tomato soup is a great dinner.
No, it's not. That's a great dinner.
Yeah.
No.
And sometimes you can put bacon.
That's more of a lunch, isn't it? That's
lunch.
Not dinner.
Well, you can make anything dinner. Some breakfast for dinner.
Well, I agree with that. Some people
breakfast
disagree.
Is good.
I told you one time.
Nando DeFino disagrees.
Yeah, our guy Nando DeFino, man. One time we went out like around noon, 12:30, and like I was ordering pancakes, and he's like, "Pancakes after 11 a.m. No, I'm gonna get a burrito. You can have your pancakes and breakfast. That's crazy."
No, see, like brunch, amazing, and then breakfast for dinner. Sometimes I'll do like French toast and some eggs. Oh.
So yeah, I don't mind the breakfast for dinner, or more so like after going out and it's like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Yeah, you can eat the breakfast.
House. Oh, yum.
We don't have Waffle House here.
I don't either. I go.
Oh, they don't have them by you either?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I go to the Fantasy Football Expos for the Waffle House. Not just
go to the Waffle House. That's where everyone goes. Oh, what a great time. Anyway, yeah.
But that's the.
Soup. I think you're on. I will say, I think you're in the minority of people that don't like grilled cheese tomato soup.
Grilled cheese is okay. I hardly ever eat it. I don't eat tomato soup. I love soup. Yeah, tomato soup not on the list.
Really? I think that's
also the last time I went to Waffle House was Colorado when I went to visit my sister and nieces. Yeah,
that's when I go too. My best friend lives there, so we go to Waffle House. She loves Waffle House. Oh, it's so good too. And then the crispy hash browns. Oh my gosh, I'm hungry.
So don't.
We gotta stop doing this. I don't know why I
don't get to go there much.
Now I'm thinking about dinner. Oh, jeez. Wait, do you like meatloaf at all?
I actually do, but I don't eat it that often.
Because that's tomato. Like when you make that, that's a base of tomato soup usually.
Is it? Well, it doesn't taste like it. Well, but it's not something. I don't remember the last time I had it.
I love meatloaf.
But yeah, if someone makes it really good, then yes.
I'll make it and I'll send it to you again with the lasagna.
You make meatloaf too?
Yeah.
Not often though, right?
No. No, that's probably a once a year. I'm not someone that's usually like I'm craving that.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think anyone. Sometimes I see it on a menu at a restaurant and I get so curious because I'm like,
nah,
really? I don't know if I can.
I don't think I could do it at a restaurant.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, we are hungry and we are ready to go for the weekend. I'm telling you though, most people do like grilled cheese tomato soup. You're like one of the only people I've ever met that doesn't like that. They'll send us, you can send it at Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis. I guarantee people agree with that. What are we talking about?
I don't remember the last time I ate grilled cheese.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so easy.
It's not something that I eat often. No.
Okay. I'm judging you just a little bit because it's so good and it's
breaking
so
news.
What?
Did you see it?
No, are you messing with me?
No. Let me make
Oh,
sure it's a real account.
wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get what?
Dolphins fired Mike McDaniel.
Are you sure?
Adam Schefter.
Are you getting? Oh yeah, Tom Pelissero.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. Yikes. Weren't we just making a joke yesterday saying that he came out and said that he's part of the GM hiring process?
Yes.
And they're close to getting. Oh. All right. Okay, so let's break this. So confirmed that this is not a fake account. Yeah, wow. ESPN sources from Adam Schefter. The Dolphins have fired head coach Mike McDaniel. It looks like their owner, Stephen Ross, met with him this week to discuss the season. After that meeting and reflection, Ross decided to move on. And they're in the second process right now of hiring their GM. I saw tweets about that earlier today and going into last night that they're moving on to the second wave of GM candidates. So this is big news. I mean, because the Miami Dolphins, for everything that was going on this year, they really, I mean, they kept fighting. I don't know if it was for McDaniel or just for themselves, but at one point in the season last year, Adam, we said he's going to get fired halfway through the season because they just looked so bad. And then they did go on a stretch of wins, and they actually, their record was much better than I anticipated it being. They had a players only meeting after week 1. And so this will be big news for whoever's coming in now because Tua Tagovailoa was benched. And so you've got a big quarterback question there as well. And we've got pieces like Devon Achane is someone we always like to draft. Jalen Waddle. I think those are probably the only two because we're not going back and saying we want to get any other tight ends or anything like that. And I don't know what Tyreek Hill is going to be doing. That recovery process is a long time with how bad that injury was. But yeah, that's big news for anyone, for whoever they hire as their head coach. They'll have a lot of questions that they have to answer.
Yeah, that's for sure. And
Wow.
yeah, it just is surprising just because of him saying he was going to be involved in picking the GM.
That's kind of sad. I kind of feel bad for him.
The Harbaugh news probably has something to do with this, would be my guess.
Yeah, they try and go after him. I mean, we said this 2 days ago when we got that news that I think teams are going to look at their current coach situation, and if they're on the line, if they're like tiptoeing and they're saying, well, we kind of like what we have, we could also go a different direction, they're going to do everything that they can to get Harbaugh because he's going to be the top coaching candidate. So yeah, you're probably right. They probably looked at this and said, now's the time.
Yeah,
And
because
then if they
again,
don't get it, and then if they don't get him, that's the other big question with teams that maybe look to do this. I
on
don't
the
know.
5th of January, which was Monday, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Schefter said Mike McDaniel said he will be part of the Dolphins interview process for their next general manager and will remain the head coach until he's told otherwise. A few days later, he's told otherwise. You're
Yikes.
not the coach. Unbelievable.
That is insane. And I think, when you're doing the GM hiring process too, I'm sure they asked all their candidates about McDaniel, right? And said, "Hey, what are your expectations here? Like, if we hired you, would you keep him?" And maybe there was a majority that said no, and they just decided, because it's really hard to keep a head coach with getting a new GM. Like, usually
Yeah.
they're paired together because you want to have the same vision for the future, you want to have the same ideas, or you want to bring in guys that you actually like. It's really why we see so many coaches when they get fired, their whole team goes with them, the coordinators and all, most of the time. So yeah, this is big news. Mike McDaniel, I think, will still be, though, a top head coaching candidate, don't you think? With all the other names kind of going on out there, or do you think he goes maybe into a coordinator role?
Yeah. I'm leaning coordinator role, offensive coordinator
Okay.
somewhere. Yeah.
Wow, that's big news. What a
Yeah.
bad day when you think you're good to go.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Okay. Again, Mike McDaniel is out as the Dolphins head coach. So we've got a lot. I think we do this every year in the NFL, but we got a lot of head coaching vacancies. And these happen. I mean, this happens pretty quickly, to be honest. Like, this is not something where we wait until the middle of February when the Super Bowl is going on, because teams want to get this right, and they want to get it started right away. So now you've got the Baltimore Ravens looking for a coach, the Arizona Cardinals, the Atlanta Falcons, GM and head coach, Cleveland Browns, Las Vegas Raiders, and Miami Dolphins, GM, head coach as well, Giants, Tennessee Titans. That's a lot. And they're all going to try and get Harbaugh, except for one, the Ravens.
Yeah. I mean, Harbaugh clearly is the guy that a
Yeah.
lot of these organizations want because of his success. So I'm pretty sure that might have had something to do with Miami making this decision.
Yeah, probably. Do you have that? Do you have total points or not total points? PPR fantasy points per where was Jalen Waddle this year? I feel like he wasn't awful. But
No,
when we're
he
talking on a
wasn't
per
bad.
game basis, and because total points, it wasn't necessarily great. I see 24 total points,
Yeah,
but
I see. Oh, I see 31st in PPR.
oh, I must be on a different site then
Well,
here.
it depends. Are you including like Malik Nabers, who played 4 games?
Yeah, they've got all the injured players on this list.
Okay, yeah, I see 31st in
Okay.
PPR, which is, I mean, he had Tyreek Hill early. I guess, there was a stretch where it looked like he was going to be a difference maker, and then he kind of
Yeah.
slowed down because he had 23, 15.5, 2.5, 20.9, 14.2, 19.4, and then after that, 8.2, 7, 18.1,
18.
4.6, 12.2. So
I think he did just enough this
wait,
year
are
though.
they? Yeah, he has a. Did he play in? Oh, in
He
week
didn't play week
17, he had
18.
he only had 7 rushing yards.
Mhm.
He didn't have a reception against the Bucks. And they
Yeah,
lost
I
20
see
to
point
17.
7. I see point 7 fantasy points in
Yeah,
that one.
that
Total.
really lowered his total.
I mean, he did just enough though this season, especially that stretch, like you said, weeks 5 to 10 were incredible. But I feel like he did just enough where he was kept in lineups. Because you did have
Yeah,
some of those boom games, the 18.1. You'll take 12.2. You don't love it, but he did just enough. So yeah,
he
it'll
was
be
a wide
interesting.
receiver 2 in the rankings pretty much every week once Tyreek Hill went down.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
depending on the matchup, it might have been a high wide receiver 2, a low receiver 2, but he was the top receiver. Even though the offense wasn't great, you knew he was getting the volume most weeks.
Well, and I was gonna say he'll probably stay at the same price, but I really don't know. I mean, depending on the quarterback situation, because you know that Tua is probably not the answer there after you bench him. But who knows? Some coaches come in and change things up a little bit, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see what his price ends up being once they get everything settled. But again, big news out of the NFL. You've got Mike McDaniel fired from the Miami Dolphins as their head coach. So they are now looking for a new GM and a new head coach. We'll see if McDaniel lands anywhere during this head coaching hiring cycle, whatever you want to call it. We're going to continue on. Of course, this is where you want to be to get the latest breaking news. We're going to keep you up to date on that. Same with the injury reports. But I do want to start breaking down these games fully, Adam. So let's start with the first game on Saturday, going through a preview of the Rams and Panthers. We're breaking that one down here. Coming up next. This is Fantasy Life, breaking down everything for the first week of the NFL playoffs. At K Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X is where you can find us. If you've got questions about this weekend, if you've got comments or just want to show us some of your guillotine drafts, please send them our way. I saw a message there from Kenny just a few minutes ago. Adam, did you see that one? Entered my first guillotine league and drafted last night. Well, possibly one of the hardest double chop drafts I've ever done. See, I told you, those are when you get in those, because we have single chop and double chop. Those get difficult, Adam, because again, I was thinking that no one's gonna, I can wait on quarterback. Not good. Don't do that in those double chops because you will not get a Matthew Stafford at the end. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, again, you have to know the league rules, know the setup and format before you draft in any league, and then that dictates the way that you draft. So, in a double chop, it's a little bit more challenging because you got
Not great.
more teams, more players being drafted. So, if you're only in the single chop, there's only 5 teams. So you can wait on the quarterback because, again, I did this yesterday. Once I saw all the other 4 teams had a quarterback, I didn't. I said, oh, okay, cool. I'm going to wait till the last round to take my quarterback.
Yeah. So go to guillotineleagues.com. We'll open up. I'll send out and tweet a couple more today here and get those drafts going because they're so fun. They go very quick as well. So you don't have to, it's not like you're drafting in the regular season, which takes a little bit more time here. It's a very quick clock. And again, only 5 people in the single chop. So we'll do a double and we'll see how that goes here today. But let's get started with some of these previews. So I wanted to get started with just going through teams going into the playoffs and when they're going to be played. So the first game on Saturday, is the Rams going up against the Panthers. Rams are traveling to the Panthers. Yes, that's the Carolina Panthers. They are in this because someone had to, and the Buccaneers didn't want it. So in this game here, Adam, a lot of the weekend games for the 6 wildcard games are expected to be relatively close. This is the only exception this weekend. I mean, this is the one where it would be shocking if Carolina was able to do this. I know stranger things have happened, so they're at home. They've got a little bit of momentum there, but this is like on paper everywhere pretty much a mismatch, right? I know that the Rams are one of the top teams in the NFL. You look at personnel as well, and you might look back and say, well, the Rams weren't able to do this a couple weeks ago against the Panthers. But to me, Adam, again, and if you're in contest, Matthew Stafford, I think, should be QB1. And I know he's not going off boards like that, but it just feels like he is going to be playing at an MVP level in the postseason. They're expected to get Devontae Adams back. And while there are holes on this team, just like there are for any other team, this one feels like they're just going to go into town and kind of take care of business. So I think a lot of people are going to be on the Rams for good reason. And this could be a good showing from Stafford against this defense.
Yeah, that's what everyone expects, even though, again, the Panthers did beat the Rams back in week 13, 31-28, but a lot of that was due to mistakes on the Rams' part. Stafford turned it over 2 times with an interception, and he lost a fumble. Otherwise, they probably win that game. So Panthers did put up 31 points, but that was a regular season game. And, the Rams still moved the ball. They averaged 7.4 yards per play in that game. They just didn't have the ball either. The Panthers had the ball for 35 minutes. So everything had to go right for the Panthers. Panthers didn't turn it over. The Rams turned it over 3 times. Panthers controlled the clock when they had it. They were 7 for 15 on 3rd down. So everything broke right for them, and they still only won by 3 points. And it's not like Carolina is coming into this postseason playing well. I mean, they backed into the playoffs. They had a late bye. They're 1-3 since that bye week. And, they haven't been good all year. They have a minus 69 point differential. So, they need to play the perfect game in order to win. I know the Rams have not played well over the last 5 weeks. They've had some injuries. Devontae Adams has been out. But, yeah, it's difficult seeing the Panthers win this game. I know we say this seems like a year where anything could happen and many teams can make a run. The Panthers are just not a good playoff team. This is one of the worst playoff teams we've seen in recent memory.
And I think they're playing with house money, right? I mean, this is good for them to be able to do this. We know that division is not good. I think that Canales is happy with this season because I don't even know how many people expected them to go this far. And I think they've got good pieces, right? We talked about Tedderone McMillan this season. What they're going to do with Bryce Young after this, that's a big question, but we'll have to see what happens on Saturday. But you said it's really going to be about the turnovers because multi-turnover games, we know this in the NFL, they usually lead to losses. When you look at Carolina this year, they fell to 1-7 when they turned the ball over at least twice. And when they avoided multi-turnover games, they were 7-2. And so the Rams have forced takeaways at the 3rd highest rate in the NFL this season. And it feels like that's going to be the bread and butter this weekend, not only on offense, but that's something that they have to look at because we know that they have a little bit of concern when we talk about special teams and that unit and what they've not been able to do this season. So that's kind of a factor in at least 3 of these losses, especially when we look at the loss to Seattle in week 16. That one hurt them. So the turnover battle has to be won, and that's where the Panthers are going to have to stay really clean. Everywhere else, they're going to have to stay clean, but in that department especially, that's how they're going to have any kind of chance to beat this team. Rico Dowdle, I will say, and I should just say their running backs as a whole, they've been running the ball effectively, but I don't know if this is a backfield that you necessarily, Adam, want to draft. If you're looking at any kind, and this is, I want to talk through all formats, guillotines, if you do it, and they get eliminated, that's okay. Because if you make it past week 1, you're going to be able to go and bid on players of the CHOP team. But it feels like just overall a team that's probably going to be avoided in most of those, those bigger contests and the smaller ones as well.
Yeah, if you're doing a draft and you're not making any moves throughout the playoffs, I mean, if you believe, and like most of us do, it's one and done, then it's a waste. And again, everything went right for Carolina in that game. They were 3 for 3 on 4th down. I think they had 2 touchdowns on 4th down. They ran the ball 40 times in that game. to limit the Rams offense. The Rams only ran 51 plays and they still were putting up numbers. Again, it was the turnover. So again, that blueprint, asking for that to repeat is asking a lot because everything went the way of Carolina in that game. And we see that. There are certain weeks where that happens, but you can't expect that to happen again here in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle. I want to continue breaking this one down and just going through a few other projections from these players, especially Puka Nacua, Kyren Williams. If you have been drafting them, what our expectations are. We're going to break that down here. Coming up next. This is Fantasy Life right here on this Thursday. Hope everyone's having a great start to their day. I did get some messages, Adam, saying that I should stand my ground because grilled cheese and tomato soup is great. That was from Rick. Appreciate it. Yeah. Just like Folgers, I know that I'm right.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think you have a lot more pushback on the Folgers. I mean, you do get some people that support you, but you get a lot of people that make fun of you.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
McDonald's, though, by the way, had a McDonald's coffee a couple weeks ago.
That's good
coffee.
I like their coffee. Absolutely.
Yeah. People
that's
try
probably
to say
one of
that
the only
not,
things that's good there.
No, not true. Hello, the breakfast sandwich.
Which one?
The whatever. The sausage, egg, and cheese. What do they call those? I'm only thinking of a McGriddle. No, not the McGriddle. The other thing.
I'm
the sausage, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich. McMuffin.
The biscuit? McMuffin? Okay.
Ugh, so good.
Yeah, I wouldn't eat that often. It's not the healthiest thing for you, but once in a while it's fine.
Look at him. He's fine. Ocho Cinco did it.
Well, I mean, he also works out like a maniac too. So yeah, he definitely loves the McDonald's.
He ate those before games. Look at us. We could be athletes. Just go to McDonald's.
I guess so, yeah.
No, probably don't do that. Don't do that. No, yeah, you can't say the coffee's the only good thing. Their fries are delicious too.
Hash browns.
Oh, hash browns. Those are expensive now, though.
Everything isn't everything expensive. Fast food used to be a cheap meal. Now it's like it's pricey everywhere.
Now I want a McMuffin. That sounds delicious. Okay, anyway.
Well, it's too late for me. Breakfast is about to stop being served.
This gets done at 9. I've got an hour and a half.
Yeah, you have time.
9.
You can go.
It gets done at 9? No, it's 10:30. Breakfast.
I think 11 by
11?
me. Yeah, they stopped.
Remember when they did it all day? What happened to that? We used to be proper.
I guess it must have not sold well enough for them to continue it.
That's crazy because they didn't meet me. I would have been there. Talk about dinner. I would have been there for dinner.
How close is the McDonald's to you?
Probably 2 miles.
Okay, so you can walk it.
It's close. I can. I'm not going to. 2 miles? No way. Are you crazy? No, I'm getting in the car.
Oh boy.
No, it's not going to happen. Anyway, walk 4 miles to get it. No, absolutely not.
Why not? This way you go, walk there, sit down, eat it, and then walk it off coming back.
No.
All right.
No, it's not going to happen. Rams Panthers. I just wanted to finish things off here with probably is there anyone that you're thinking though that could be a sleeper pick between these two teams if you are in those contests? Because a lot of our conversations are structured around obviously previewing these games, but making sure that if anyone is drafting, today before these games start on Saturday, that you have the best chance of winning. And sometimes, Adam, that does mean like not only telling a cohesive story with your team, because it has to have the right moving pieces for it to be able to be successful among all those other people playing, but you also have to kind of not only call your shot, but have players that maybe some others don't. So is there anyone on these two teams playing this weekend that you could see that happening for, or not really?
Well, the problem is I think all the Rams players are being drafted because, some people have them going to the Super Bowl. So that would be 4 games, but maybe Tyler Higbee, right? No one's really talking about him, and he came back. I did see, was it Ferguson not practicing, right?
Yeah,
so far?
That was big.
It was a hamstring injury for Ferguson, I think?
I don't have that in front of me.
So yeah, with Higbee, Higbee could be the guy. I know he was limited to begin the week. He just returned, but we see they use their tight ends a lot because, Adams is early, Puka's early, Kyren Williams is early. I'm sure people will take Corum as well. So there's really not much on the side if you're looking at one of the tight ends. So like Higbee or Colby Parkinson.
Yeah, I wish I could say good things about Rico. I think if you really go that direction, it'll probably be in the guillotine format.
And you can't in the draft leagues. You can't unless it's like the last round and there's no other options. It's just unless you feel Carolina wins and is going to get multiple games, and I haven't seen anyone that's picking Carolina.
I don't know if that's going to happen, because the reason for concern is almost everything, right? It's Bryce Young. There's concerns on the defensive side. It's just like general inconsistency with Carolina. I mean, they're outperforming a lot of expectations this season, obviously when you're making it to the playoffs, but I think when you look at Bryce Young more specifically, it's concerning with what we saw with him entering the playoffs. I mean, he had a career low 54 passing yards in week 17, franchise record 448 yards mid-November against Atlanta. It's been very up and down and very inconsistent. So again, this is a game where we know that they are true underdogs. This is going to be, is the spread still, is it at 10.5, 9.5?
Yeah, I think I see 10.
Okay, so I think we're both going with the Rams in this one, right?
Yeah.
You should take the Panthers just for fun.
I will not do that. Bryce Young did have one of his best games though against the Rams. 3 touchdowns.
I know. What's your score prediction here?
31-17.
All right, I'm gonna go 31-15. We're gonna be in the water cooler coming up next. This is Fantasy Life, and we are in the water cooler right now, going through the news and notes that you need to know heading into the first weekend of the NFL playoffs. FantasyLife.com is where you can go subscribe to that newsletter. As always, in your inbox, 7 days a week and 100% free. Same with our articles. Again, we're talking a lot, and you're going to hear us talk a lot about Guillotine Leagues. GuillotineLeagues.com is where you can go, because we've got the Guillotine playoff formats live. And so if you have never done it and you hear us talk about it, you want to learn more, go to fantasylife.com, and we've got a drop down for Guillotine, and we've got all the analysis that you need. Like, I'm looking at our articles right here. I wrote up a draft review. If you want to see some draft reviews, we have that. We've got our rankings for the postseason for Guillotine Leagues, specifically how to win your postseason fantasy leagues, everything you need to dominate, because we always dominate during the season, but now it's time to dominate in the postseason. Fantasylife.com to go and do that. Guillotineleagues.com to go and sign up for some of those drafts happening every single hour. I'll make sure to add a couple more, because Adam just wants to keep losing. So we'll make sure.
Not gonna happen.
We'll make sure to get that done. So we'll do another draft here today. I think we do the double chop, though. I think it's time to get more people involved and do the double chop. What do you think?
Yeah, we can do that.
It's difficult, but I like it. So again, double chop is exactly how it sounds. You get double the people chopped every single week, and more players involved than just 5. So again, guillotineleagues.com to go and check that out. And we're going to go through the news, the notes that you need to know here. Let's start with the one that we broke down just in the first segment here. But the Miami Dolphins did end up firing Mike McDaniel, which was kind of surprising to me, Adam. I don't know about you, because when someone tells us that they're in the GM hiring process, when they're involved in that, it would make me believe that they would have some job security. And that was just completely untrue, it looks like. So again, Mike McDaniel fired as the head coach of the Dolphins. So it looks like they're going to be hiring their GM first. That's what the tweets have been recently from Adam Schefter and Tom Pelissero. They plan to hire their GM first, most likely in the next day or two. And then they're going to start conducting their head coaching search. So yeah, some of their GMs that they've interviewed in person are guys from the Chargers, Chad Alexander, John Eric Sullivan with the Packers, Josh Williams for the 49ers, and Champ Kelly as well. So we'll see what they do. Again, crazy that this happened. And it looks like a turn for Miami, a little bit of a rebuild there.
Yeah, I'm thinking the Harbaugh news had something to do with this. And obviously, every team that has an opening is going to be pursuing him. And then when McDaniel, I don't know if he gets a coaching job, a head coaching job this time around, but we know for sure he's going to be an offensive coordinator option for many teams that would definitely take him on. So, yeah, we'll still see him most likely as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah. And again, I was surprised. I mean, we learned about this on the air together. I was kind of surprised by this. I thought at this point in the week it would have been done earlier, maybe.
Yeah, again, my guess is the Harbaugh news had something to do with it.
They said, wait a second. You think any other team is on that path, thinking to themselves right now, like, oh, maybe we could get in the loop there? Or is that all of them? I'm trying to look. I think.
Well, remember there were reports that there were more teams than openings that were inquiring.
Yeah. I don't know any other. Well, the Browns have already fired their head coach. The Colts are keeping it together. Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders. No, I feel like that might be it. Commanders, no. Giants have already done it. You have your own things going on with Dallas with a new defensive coordinator coming to town. Yeah, I don't know. I think the only one this weekend that's interesting, that I think we keep an eye on is if the Steelers lose, then maybe
Yeah,
they
that
part
would be
ways.
funny
But
if
you
they
know
brought
that
in
Harbaugh's
Harbaugh.
not. No, he's not
That
going
would
to
be
do
great.
that.
It would
That'd
be
be
great.
insane. That would never happen, would it? No.
Yeah, that would be
No, it
awesome.
wouldn't. I think that's the only one left though, right? Or I mean, stranger things have happened, but that could end up being a really big game because it does feel like if they don't get, because we do see the Steelers in the playoffs, but it's the conversation of they never have a good enough team to make it far. They're always a first round exit. And we always look at that team and say, oh, okay, whoever's playing them, it's a win automatically, like last year with the Ravens. So Buccaneers are keeping it together. Panthers are as well. Falcons have already moved on. Yeah, we'll have to see what the Steelers do this weekend, Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a Monday night game. So
I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I've got more just injury. We're gonna start getting practice updates here from some of these players, especially the ones going on Saturday. But I did see that the Bears and Rome Odunze said he expects to play on Saturday. So that's kind of interesting to me, because he's only given us 12 games. So he had a quote saying, "I'm planning on playing. This is via the Associated Press, but I've been planning on playing for weeks." Again, he was limited in Tuesday and Wednesday's practices here, and he injured his foot back in October. And I remember him trying to play through it. He had a good start to the season. Obviously, it tailed off a lot. So 12 games, 44 receptions, 661 yards, 6 touchdowns. But the Bears will take anything that they can get offensively if they get a little bit healthier there. So that'll be interesting if he is able to go.
Yeah, I'd still be concerned about what the level of his production will be. Remember, he did try to come back in week 15 and then hurt it during warmups. And that happened like 10 minutes before kickoff. And it's a lesson too, because I think a lot of times people hear the inactives at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, go through their lineups. All right, I'm good. There are situations where we do get these last minute scratches. Now, 5 to 10 minutes before is a rarity, but you just really have to pay attention all the way up until kickoff. And Odunze was the perfect example because I'm sure a lot of people had him in their lineups and could not get him out because they weren't either paying attention, they didn't have notifications on or whatever it is. And it was a tough situation. Like that was one where I can't blame people. You know, a lot of times we have the information well beforehand, but that was really an outlier of a scenario where it was, I think it was like 10 minutes before the game. It might have been 5. I think I might have saw it like 5 minutes
really
before.
close.
But it was
annoying.
definitely at least 10 minutes before kickoff. And again, by that time, you hear Odunze's active. You don't hear anything. You're like, oh, okay, cool. He's playing. Oh, all right, I'll put him in the lineup. And then just like that, he's not playing. So, yeah, I'd be worried about it. You know, the connection to with Caleb Williams hasn't been there. Williams has been inaccurate throughout the season. We've seen it. Odunze's been open, and he just can't get the football. You have the emergence of Luther Burden, Colston Loveland coming on as well. So I don't think you can count on much from Odunze this weekend.
Yeah, and that's why that's why it's important pay attention to the injury reports, but I've seen him go undrafted 10 out of 10 times from Odunze, depending again on where you're drafting and what kind of format you're doing. But that's something you just have to pay attention to. So again, he expects to play on Sunday, like Adam just said. What the extent of that and his role could be, we'll have to just wait and see. So just be careful in those drafts. It looks like Trent Williams, Ricky Pearsall did not practice on Wednesday for the 49ers. When was the last time we saw Ricky Pearsall, by the way? Would it even matter if he's coming back? Not to be like totally.
Well, I think it would. Now, maybe you're worried about it from a fantasy perspective, but I think, he's a deep threat. So it changes the way they can attack a defense. Now,
oh my gosh,
the last time
he was hurt a lot this year.
He was, but the last 2 games we saw him, he was really good. That's the unfortunate part because I did have him in a couple leagues and, got him back in that first game. He came back. Well, not the first game, but, after their bye week, he had 6 for 96 on 7 targets. And then the following week, he had 5 for 85 on 8 targets. So you're like, okay, fine. This is what we saw the first few games of the season. So it's just been so unfortunate for Pearsall. Last year he had the bad luck, getting shot, then having the injury again during the season. This year it opens up where Jennings is banged up to start the year, Kittle, and you're like, all right, here we go. It's Pearsall time. And then he has the first 3 weeks where he's really good. And then he gets hurt in week 4 and then misses an extended period of time. Then he comes back and you're like, all right, do I put him in? I didn't that first week. He had 2 targets, 1 catch for no yards. The next week, 2 catches for 6 yards. The next week, 2 for 14. And you're like, geez, I waited all this time. Yeah. He's had 3 games where he's done nothing. And then finally after the bye against Tennessee in a good matchup, he did well. Then he did well against Chicago. And then he gets hurt again. So, yeah, it's been pretty brutal.
Yeah, and you're right. Anyone coming back for any teams that want to get a little bit more healthy, especially the 49ers, that'll be good for them if he can do it. But again, he was not practicing on Wednesday, so it looks like, again,
but they need Trent Williams back.
Oh,
we have
badly.
seen this.
I don't think I don't know. Everything that I've been reading looks like it's not. Well, it definitely doesn't look like it's going to be this week.
And
they need Trent Williams back badly.
You saw how that went against a good Seattle defense, and you're facing another good defense in Philadelphia. So that's why I think it's tough to have faith in San Francisco right now.
Well, this was the worst case scenario for San Francisco, unfortunately. Like as everything could have happened for them, this is exactly what they didn't want to have happen, with the Rams winning, Seahawks winning, and then them going down and going on the road to face Philly, who, again, we've talked about Philly, and I know it's a completely different conversation when we talk about Philadelphia for fantasy during the regular season. But when they get to the playoffs, Adam, sometimes they do turn it on. And I know Philly fans are a little disappointed with how the regular season went. But this 49ers defense is bad. They are not there. And that's one part of them that's just not going to get healthy throughout the playoffs. There's not someone that we're necessarily waiting on that we say, oh, well, this can change everything. Trent Williams is obviously different. But again, he was not practicing yesterday. So we'll see how it goes throughout the week. But yeah, this was worst case scenario for the 49ers. And if they can get anyone back, even if it's Ricky Pearsall, they'll take it. But it's an uphill battle for sure. What's that? Is the line still 1.5 or is it 3.5 for them?
4.5.
Oh, 4.5. It's moved. Okay.
Yeah.
There's reason for concern, we can say, with the 49ers, but you never know. Brock Purdy came in. I mean, he was hot as he came back from that injury. Obviously against the Seahawks, he was not, but they do have recipes for success if they can get it going.
Yeah, it's
a big if.
Yeah, so Purdy had most of his good games against pretty bad defenses. I mean, look at this stretch. It was Tennessee, Indianapolis, Chicago. That's where he had his 11 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. Then goes against a elite defense in Seattle and can do absolutely nothing. So, yeah, it's tough to believe in the 49ers right now, which is crazy because it looked like they were peaking. They had that nice run and you felt good, but then reality hit going against a top defense with no Trent Williams, no Ricky Pearsall, and only putting up 3 points.
It was brutal. As a Seahawks fan, though, loved it.
Of course you did.
I will tell you, we were out at this brewery thing, and there were some Seahawks fans, a lot more 49ers fans, but I would look around, and every single Seahawks fan, whenever, including myself, whenever we saw Sam Darnold, would just like tense up and we'd go, please just don't do anything crazy. Like that's how it's probably going to feel throughout the remainder of the playoffs. They get the first round bye, so that's good. Gives them an extra week to think about that game. But what could go wrong, Adam? Absolutely nothing with Sam Darnold in the playoffs. No, everything's going to be fine. So we'll keep watching out for those practice reports and those injury reports. But again, Trent Williams, Ricky Pearsall not practicing. That was yesterday's practice report. Rome Odunze saying he believes that he is going to play on Saturday. So that would be big for the Bears just to get a little bit healthier here. Other pieces of news, I will just say, because Cam Ward got injured week 18. So they said they're optimistic just about his timeline and his return. Wasn't as bad as it could have been. AC joint sprain with him. So it does not look like that's going to require surgery. I only bring him up, Adam, because I'm curious if Cam Ward can, in your mind, make a second-year leap. Like sometimes we talk about that with these quarterbacks, but I think a lot's going to have to go right with Tennessee, not only hiring the right coach, but I don't think we're going to be running into our draft saying I need to get, Chigakonkwo, unfortunately, Chimere DK, Elikana Manor. They need a true receiver. They need a lot more help than that. But yeah, Cam Ward looks like he's going to be good to go for 2026 season.
Yeah, you're going to have to see a real upgrade in talent here surrounding Cam Ward. It was not the ideal scenario this year. He did finish the season well before getting injured. He had 4 straight games of multiple touchdowns, so you saw some things. But yeah, a lot's going to depend on what coaching staff is brought in and what do they do to upgrade the personnel in the offensive line.
Well, we talked in the break about the names that they're looking at, and it's not necessarily great. They can't mess this up, right? No.
Oh, they can. Yeah, they can.
We've seen it happen before. So that's just something to watch out for. I will also say here, Justin Herbert had a quote yesterday saying that sitting out week 18 was, quote, beneficial for the fractured hand. So again, he said he is rested and ready after sitting out against the Broncos, a game that we kind of knew the Broncos were going to win to get that 1 seed, but he fractured his hand. I looked back at this, Adam, because I thought it was a little bit later in the season, but it was still late, but week 13, and has played through it until the healthy scratch on this previous Sunday. So again, he said he's like not taking those hits last week was beneficial. We'll see if they're going to be able to go up against the Patriots in this one. Again, they're the 7th seed, Los Angeles, traveling to New England. New England's Drake Mays looked good all year. We can say that. So again, they're underdogs, the Los Angeles Chargers in this one, but I'm sure, a healthy week for Justin Herbert didn't hurt anyone.
Yeah, they just need to find a way to protect them, right? You don't want him to take a beating. And we have seen, though, in some of these games, like he is flexing that hand, shaking it when he has taken hits or had to put his hand on the ground to prevent a fall. So it is something that it's still a concern. And also holding on to the football, too, if he has to run. And we have seen him run. That's the one thing. He's run quite a bit. He'll take off if nothing's there. And that's where you have to be concerned because we know he's going to have the ball in the other hand. Yeah,
he's got a career high, scrambled for a career high 498 rushing yards.
Yeah, I mean, 3 of the last 4 games, he has at least 37 rushing yards.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah, he's run quite a bit this year.
I mean, he has to because he's playing behind one of the worst offensive lines.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to try and get out there. Wow. I guess I didn't know it was up to 498, but that's Justin Herbert. And again, that's the reason for concern with this team that we'll break down, is the offensive line for them.
He's had 3 games of at least 60 rushing yards this year.
Wow. Herbert.
Yeah.
Imagine
and he's actually had, he's had 9 games of at least 30 rushing yards this year.
Wow. That's impressive. I mean, he's put up pretty solid numbers throughout the fantasy season. There were a few down games, especially down the stretch, like week 10 to 15. You got 14, 3, 12, 12, 10. But you had some pretty solid floor.
If he was in an offense that let him pass more, he could put up big time numbers. Just look at his pass attempts down the stretch. I mean, they don't let him throw more than 30 pass attempts.
29, 26, 20 against Las Vegas.
Yeah. I mean, they control that game too.
Yeah. 47 I see is, or no, 55 against Indianapolis was the most.
Because he has the weapons of receiver. If they opened up this offense, but again, the offensive line is the big issue. If they had a better offensive line, I mean, he could put up massive numbers.
According to ESPN, they've used 29 different offensive line combinations this season, which is the 3rd most in the league.
Yeah, that's not good. Great.
They rank last in pass block win rate, 2nd to last in run block win rate. Say that 5 times fast. Going into week 18, because we're not going to count some of those stats because it was a lot of second string guys going in there. But it's not been good. And so that's why we know going into New England, who's also a trendy team, but Drake May put up a great season to be talking about him as a potential MVP for 2025. So we'll have to continue, just watching, and we'll break this game down here coming up. But again, Justin Herbert saying he feels good, beneficial for the fractured hand to be sitting out week 18. And as always, like I say, go to fantasylife.com, go subscribe to that newsletter, because we will be updating you on all the news and notes, especially from practices these next couple days. That'll be important to know when you're going in and doing those drafts. We're going to continue on here. I just want to go through some of the more of the, I should say, playoff fantasy rankings presented here by Xfinity, because we've got projections, Adam, and I want to go through the Xfinity best ceilings, what guys could really overperform in the playoffs. We're going to break it down here coming up next. This is Fantasy Life right here. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us on this Thursday at Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there on X is where you can find us. We're continuing to break down the playoffs, the first week of the playoffs, which is coming up quickly here starting on Saturday. And we will be going through some of the projections as well here, Adam. And you can find those at fantasylife.com, because I think that is going to help a lot of people when they're looking at their drafts to go to those projections, see what we expect for some of these players. But wanted to break down the other game, the final game on Saturday with you here, and that's the Packers going up against the Bears. So this is one where you might look and you say, oh, the Bears are at home. They're favorites, right? Wrong. They're the second seed, right? Green Bay is still favored in this one, or what they were yesterday. I'm assuming they still are.
Yeah, I think it's been varying depending on the book. It's going kind of back and forth, but for the most part, you are seeing Green Bay as a slight favorite.
Yeah, and I think this is a really great game this weekend as well, because I think there's a lot that you can draft from both of these teams. And I think I think this game's going to be close. You don't?
No, I do. I think it's going to be close. Okay. Yeah.
But ultimately, you're believing in the Packers in this one, right?
Yeah, I lean to them. Look, the Bears have just gotten off to such slow starts offensively, and then they keep coming from behind and putting together these miraculous comebacks. I know Green Bay does have quite a few injuries. They will have Jordan Love back. The last game they played, that was the game that Love suffered a concussion and Malik Willis came in. So it went to overtime, and DJ Moore made that great play. So Burden, I believe, was out of that game too. So, yeah, both sides have been missing. But they've played twice this year, competitive games. But, yeah, just Buffalo, the Bears, just so many of these slow starts offensively. Yeah. And at some point, you're not going to be able to put it together late and come back. Green Bay does have that playoff experience. I know they have not played well down the stretch, but they also rested some players. Jordan Love sat out, several weeks. Josh Jacobs said this is the best he's felt in a while.
There we go.
Yeah, that's key, right? I mean, he's going to get a massive workload in this game. So, yeah, it should be a fun game for sure. It should be a close game.
I think it's going to be close. And I think, like you just said, I think the reason for hope is also the reason for concern with the Bears, because like you said, I mean, Caleb Williams in this offense has proven that they can face anyone, but they do have slow starts. When you look at it was 6 wins. So Chicago had 6 wins after trailing in the final 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. That's the most by any team in a season since the 1970 merger from the AFL and the NFL. I mean, it's impressive when we're talking about 6 of those this season. And it just felt like you could never count them out. And some games, it didn't always come true, but those 6 prove that they are not going to give up. That's for sure. But on the other side, I think the reason for concern, like this Bears defense has given up, per ESPN, a little over 1,300 yards since week 16. And when we look at, they've ranked 31st in pass rush win rate. That's really tough for me to say today. Pass rush win rate entering week 18. And they only had 4 sacks in the final 3 games. So we know that they're built on takeaways. That's something that we've talked about before here on the show, when they had the league high 33, and they had the 23 interceptions as well. But the defense, when they're not forcing turnovers, that's probably going to be what they need to do this weekend, and what we're going to need to see on Saturday for them to keep going here. And on the side of the Bears, are you looking at DeAndre Swift or Monangai as 2 guys that you're willing to draft, or are you trying to stay away from them based on this matchup?
Yeah, I prefer Swift. Obviously, Monangai is very touchdown dependent. I know we had a nice stretch where people were talking about using him as a running back every week, but you just see when he doesn't score a touchdown, it's not a good week. So I think, especially this being the playoffs, they're going to rely on Swift a lot more. We've seen Monunga hasn't had double-digit carries in the last 3 games. So, he faced Green Bay last time, 9 carries, 50 yards, 3 catches for 43. And then the first game against Green Bay, 14 for 57, 1 catch for 2 yards. So, again, this is the 3rd time in 6 weeks these teams are playing. But, yeah, I prefer DeAndre Swift.
Okay. Other side for the Packers here. Again, this is the Saturday game, the night game, 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern on Prime Video. What's the reason for hope with the Packers? Obviously, getting Jordan Love back. They have gotten good play out of him and Malik Willis for that matter. But we know that they're not turning to Malik Willis in the playoffs. But most of the season, like Love was looking good, and so I think that's a reason for hope with this team. We know that they're going to spread it around. Right. It's not going to, it just feels like if you're drafting receivers from this team for some of these contests, this going on to this weekend and throughout the playoffs, it's going to be tough to pin down who you want. I think Christian Watson's the one that I've drafted the most, Adam. And even then I don't necessarily feel fantastic about it. But the reason for hope there, I think with Green Bay is that, yeah, Jordan Love has looked good. And you just hope that they get into some of those receivers that you picked up and drafted so that you can get a little bit farther in those contests.
Yeah, I think with the Packers, the defense is key. They have a lot of injuries on that side of the football. Love has that playoff experience. The concern, I guess, is did he miss too much time, having 3 weeks off before a playoff game? I know they were being cautious with him, and they had nothing to play for last week, so that's why they rested everyone. But that is something to watch early on. Maybe they get off to a slow start. But, these are 2 closely matched teams. I mean, we've seen 2 games in the regular season, and both were 1-possession games. One went to overtime. Yep. So, yeah, I do think it'll be a close game, but give a slight edge here to Green Bay.
Yeah, I do too. And Josh Jacobs. Like I want Josh Jacobs on these teams that I'm building as well. And I'll say this, I didn't know when I was looking through these stats, like I did not know they entered, so this is week 18. They entered that Sunday ranked 2nd in EPA per dropback and Love ranked 2nd in QBR. Did you know that?
I didn't know. I knew it was high. I didn't know it was that high.
Yeah. He has looked good, but you do worry about, it's kind of, I know next week I'm going to have the same conversations as the 2 teams that had the bye. Do you worry about a little bit of rust? That's something that they're always asked about too, is like, hey, how's that going to work for you? But we haven't seen Love in a while. Christian Watson, is he probably the one that you want if we're talking receivers from this team that you want to go out and get if you're doing drafts? Because like I said, he's about the only one that I've taken besides Josh Jacobs from this team.
Yeah, I think if you're in a draft and you think the Packers win this game and he can give you 2 games, yeah, and I've done that. He has fallen. I've done the RT Sports ones, and I've been able to get him pretty late. And we know that he's a big play threat, and he's looked healthy. I know they have Jaden Reed back now and Dobbs, so they might spread it around a little bit, but we've seen Watson had 1 big game against the Bears, 4 for 89 and 2 touchdowns. The last time he faced the Bears, only 2 for 17. But again, in that game, Jordan Love got injured. Malik Willis came in. So I think that was a factor. But yeah, Christian Watson, because he's the guy that can give you a massive week. We know he can get a touchdown and 80 yards. He can get 100 yards. He can get a multiple touchdown game. So yeah, he's the one. He's looked really good and man-to-man, beat guys deep. And all it takes is 1 big play for him to make your fantasy day. So, yeah, he's the most appealing for me.
And the Bears give up, again, the 3rd biggest fantasy boost to opposing wide receivers. We just talked about their defense on the other side there. So, yeah, Christian Watson's one for me that he's one of the sleepers that goes goes later than I expected even. And maybe it's because people are picking the Bears to win this game. I think if you're picking the Bears and you think that they're going to be able to take down the Packers in this one, I don't mind putting a draft pick on Luther Burden, to be honest, because where are they going to go? Even if Rome Odunze comes back, I don't want people to necessarily get caught up in that because we have not seen him for a while. And I think talking about rust, probably limiting how much he's going to play because they don't want to risk further injury. Luther Burden has, shown really good signs, and he's going to be one that when we go into 2026 drafts, Adam, I know everyone is probably going to be talking about him because it's always the what have you done for me lately? And lately, especially, the down the stretch, that San Francisco game, 27 fantasy points, like he looked good. And so I think if you do think the Bears are going to win, besides drafting DeAndre Swift, Luther Burden goes late enough where I've picked him up a couple times too.
Yeah, a lot depends on which team you're picking. If you do feel the Bears are going to win this game and maybe make a further run, then yeah, you're going to be higher on the Bears receivers, whether it's Luther Burden or tight end, even Colston Loveland, because we've seen him emerge. It's hard to have any faith in DJ Moore at this point, especially when Burden and Loveland are on the field. It's just not happening for him. But yeah, that's where your prediction and your bracket dictates who you're taking in these drafts. If you have the Bears winning this game and maybe winning another, yeah, you're going to have your Bears players higher than the Packers. If you have the Packers winning this week and potentially another game, which would mean beating Seattle in Seattle, then yeah, you're going to have the Packers higher. So everyone's rankings are going to be different depending on what your predictions look like and what teams you have advancing.
That's a good call out with Loveland. I haven't gotten him yet, and I'm getting a little bit nervous about it because if the Bears do this, Colston Loveland feels like he could be the sleeper of the weekend, right? Because, okay, so like the Packers, when we talk about, them being underdogs, it kind of just depends, like Adam said, where you're looking and stuff. But for the Bears, the Super Bowl odds aren't really aligned with the seeding. We've talked about that before, but Colston Loveland has taken over a full-time role at 84% route participation rate over the last 3 games. 3 games, he's averaged 17.5 points. A 100 utilization score, by the way. And Dwayne's talked about that at fantasylife.com. That's really difficult to do. And a 29% target share. Like, everything is going well for Colston Loveland. And if they are going to make a difference and they're going to make a run, it feels like it's going to be Colston Loveland as the difference maker with the other options at tight end as well. When we're talking about some of these drafts, like, it's probably George Kittle. If you don't get him, I'm willing to wait and get someone like Colston Loveland kind of close to last with the quarterbacks.
He has 23 targets over the last 2 weeks, and his stock for next season is absolutely skyrocketing. Yep. He is going to go so early next season. He's probably going to be
probably top 5.
He's going to be the 3rd or the 4th tight end off the board.
Yes.
He is. I'm telling you.
Wow, that's going to be crazy because it'll
be McBride, Bowers, and Kittle, and then he's probably next.
Go 4, 5.
Yeah.
Depending, I guess. Depending on where Pitts goes, yeah. Will that make a difference? That'll probably make a difference. But he has to be going ahead of Tyler Warren, right?
Yeah, I mean, Warren will be up there too, but I think, yeah, probably. I mean, again, we have to see what the quarterback situation is with Indy.
Yeah. Oh, maybe we should just tell Colston Loveland to just knock it off, stop. So we could get
slow down,
better draft pick next season because it's not going to be does it not feel like that's going to be what's happening for the Bears as a whole though? Like people are going to be really in on the Bears after what they saw this season?
Yeah, and were they in on the Bears? I mean, Caleb Williams was anywhere from 10 to 14.
Really. Yeah.
Swift Luther actually was a decent value this year.
They were all pretty late.
DJ Moore fell. Yeah, I guess they were. Odunze was 25 to 30. So, yeah, we'll see hype. We'll definitely see hype on Loveland. Loveland, depending on, sometimes went as a borderline tight end 1.
Yeah, I saw him inside the top 10 because it just got so dire.
Yeah, but no, it'll definitely be way more because you're going to see Burden move up. You're going to see Loveland in the top 5.
I still think Luther Burden goes as their first receiver.
Probably, I agree. Yeah. And then I think Caleb will probably go in the top 10.
Yeah, I think my initial rankings will have him at 11 or 12.
Okay,
but,
yeah, that's fair.
Just to start things off with the offseason, but I can see him getting pushed up, especially depending on what we see this weekend.
If he he's got to improve the accuracy though. I mean, fantasy wise, he had 27 touchdowns, 27 passing touchdowns this year. Almost 4,000 yards. Bears still waiting on that. And
crazy, by the way.
And he did run. He didn't run he wasn't as efficient as his rookie year, but he rushed for 3 touchdowns, 388. So, yeah, it's all about 58.1% completion percentage. That's got to get better. And if it does, then yeah, maybe we look at a 30 to 35 touchdown season.
Yeah, and he's been inconsistent, and he has a high off target rate. It's just
Yeah,
like you just said. It's like it's really bad.
he
And
drives
so,
me nuts when I watch him play.
well,
Like
because it's
because
all there, and
yeah,
then it just feels like it doesn't come together. Like we can see it, like that throw to that in the end zone to DJ Moore that
yeah. I
second
mean, that
time. It
was
was like we were all screaming like, "No, what are you doing?" And then he's able to come down with it. But that just feels like what we yell at the TV when we're watching Caleb Williams every week. We're like, "No," and then we're like,
and then the
"Oh,
overtime
okay."
throw to win the game to DJ Moore is just absolute perfection.
Yeah. But that's like he shows us flashes every single game of what he can do. He just needs to be doing that
And you're
consistently.
hoping
And
the
then we'd be talking
second
about it
year in
differently.
the offense, right?
For
That
sure.
another off season working with Ben Johnson, that
Yes.
maybe it gets a little bit better.
I think it will. I think once you're able to continue to have consistency with coaches, like with what we've said, like we saw it come together for Trevor Lawrence this year, and we're expecting it to just get better next year. I think we have to say the same thing with Caleb Williams and have high hopes for him going into 2026. But we'll see. It's not 2026 for the fantasy season yet. We'll have to see what they do this weekend going up against the Packers. So you're taking the Packers? What's your final prediction on that?
Yeah, I will go
Okay.
24-20 Green Bay.
Ooh. 24-20. Okay. I think I'm going to go Green Bay as well. I'm going to put it up. I'll give them 31-24 Packers
Okay.
for that one. We'll try and see if we can get some high scoring affairs here. We're going to continue on though. Like I said, the playoff fantasy rankings. I want to go through our projections here presented by Xfinity, see what we can expect for some of these other players we haven't talked about. We're breaking that down coming up next. We've got playoffs this weekend, and it is the best time to go through some of the playoff projections for these players. You can find these live at fantasylife.com here, presented by Xfinity, the one and only. So make sure you go and check those out. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy Xfinity. Imagine that. So, Adam, I did want to go through some of these players that maybe if you're looking at contests or you just want to know the expectations that we have for some of these teams this weekend, to just go through and see what we have. We're going to be breaking down the rest of these games because we talked through the 2 Saturday games today, and we'll do the rest tomorrow as well. But we haven't talked much about, Drake May, because I think Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Matthew Stafford, probably the top 3 quarterbacks when at least we're looking at projections that you can go ahead and draft. Drake May, though, projections over at fantasylife.com, median projection 18.5 fantasy points, but he has an Xfinity best score of 24.5 for the weekend. So he feels like another one where, again, depending on what contest you're playing, and you can wait to draft some of these quarterbacks, but Drake May it's been really solid all season long.
Yeah, it has. He also gives you that ability with his rushing and, in the MVP conversation, which I guess for most people definitely is surprising. I guess even if you were the most optimistic Drake May supporter going into this season, this has to be a surprise that he's in the MVP conversation. So. I know we both liked him as a breakout quarterback this year. And, again, the running is a big factor of it. They improved some of the personnel around him, bringing in a veteran receiver like Stephon Diggs, and he jumps to 31 passing touchdowns. This is a challenging matchup. The Chargers defense is really good. They've allowed the second fewest fantasy points to the quarterback position this year. No quarterback has thrown for more than 2 touchdown passes in a game against the Chargers this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. The reason for hope though is Drake May, because if anyone at this point in time can do it, he played it at an MVP level all season long, led the NFL in completion percentage, 72%, threw for 40, a little over, close to 4,400 yards, I should say, passing yards, 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And so it looks like they can lead him. I think it's interesting, though, when you continue looking through some of the projections at fantasylife.com presented here by Xfinity, because you go to the wide receivers, and I don't know if you want to go anywhere with them. Stephon Diggs is projected for 11.2, Kayshon Boutte 7.6, Demario Douglas 4.5, and even the best outing for Stephon Diggs is 17.2 for the Xfinity best projection here. So it might be Drake May, and then maybe you go to the running backs. Like maybe you want to get a Travion Henderson. He's projected for 12.5. Ramondre Stevenson projected for 10.5 in this matchup.
Yeah, Stevenson has been really good. We've been clamoring for more Travion Henderson. We get upset when he doesn't get the volume. But we have to be fair. Ramondre Stevenson's still a very good running back, and he has shown it, especially to end this season. 4 rushing touchdowns over the last 3 games. But it's still more Henderson. It's not, Stevenson's not getting massive volume. He's, been fortunate to break some big plays. Has still been involved in the passing game a little bit too. That's helped. He's got 2 receiving touchdowns over the last 2 games. So, most of his production, though, has come lately. It's 6 of his 10 touchdowns have come in the last 3 games.
Yeah. See, we needed that all year from TreVeyon Henderson, but
he said, I'm just going to wait for the fantasy playoffs when no one starts me.
It's so disappointing. You said it, though. He still remains the lead ball carrier, 55% rush share for TreVeyon Henderson. So Stevenson is the lead receiving back at this point, 57% route participation rate. And that is compared to 36% for TreVeyon Henderson over that time. So I'm just looking at it and I'm saying, hey, the postseason, again, projections live at fantasylife.com makes me believe that if you are looking for some of these Patriots, that you're probably going Drake May and the running backs because they, again, have the best projections. The Xfinity best score, TreVeyon Henderson at 20, 18.4 for Ramondre Stevenson. That'd be a good weekend, too. Are you taking them this weekend? You think the Patriots do it?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, I am, too. So those are some of the projections for the Patriots. I want to keep going through a few more, though, and through some players that might be a little bit low on your list when you're looking at drafts, but some guys that you want to really pay attention to. We're going to break it down here coming up next. Continuing on through our projections for the first weekend of the playoffs, Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you right here, going through the projections at fantasylife.com, presented here by Xfinity. You know, a team that I've just been searching around because everyone can go and should go to our website to check this out, Adam, but a team that keeps popping up with having players inside the top 7 inside our projections, Jacksonville. And I know we've talked about Jacksonville today, but let me just say this. Trevor Lawrence, let's start there. Trevor Lawrence has a projection of 18.4 fantasy points for just the median projection. He's got an Xfinity best projection, though, of 25.1, which puts them at number 3 for projected finishes this weekend. Josh Allen at number 1, Jalen Hurts at number 2. Then you say, okay, that's fine. Let's go to the running backs. Travis Etienne comes in at 6th, 13.7 fantasy points. Xfinity best projection, though, 22.1. And then you go to the wide receivers, and you've got 2 receivers inside the top 8, Parker Washington, Jacoby Myers at 11.4 apiece. So maybe the answer this weekend, Adam, is just Jacksonville, or maybe it's not, and maybe they lose.
Again, that is the toughest game to pick this week is Jacksonville Buffalo, and it just has so many implications. Buffalo has been really good against quarterbacks, the 4th fewest fantasy points to the quarterback position. They've allowed only 1 quarterback to pass for more than 200 yards since week 10. That was Joe Burrow with 284 in week 14. They held Drake May to 155, Jalen Hurts to 110, Baker Mayfield to 173. There was Davis Mills in there and Shedeur Sanders and Brady Cook in week 18. So you got to be fair there, but they've been pretty good against quarterbacks. But Jacksonville's just playing at a top-notch level right now. Lawrence has a lot of confidence. He's got multiple weapons. I mean, that's the thing. You can't really shut anyone down in Jacksonville. He always has somewhere to go, and it's a reason why Parker Washington has really emerged. He's had some advantageous matchups in the slot the last few weeks. So, we saw that Denver game. All right, you're going to take Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas out? Cool. We'll go to Parker Washington. You got Brenton Strange, ETN catching passes out of the backfield. So, this offense is rolling now. But this is the time where you got to get it done. It's the playoffs. It doesn't mean anything. Yeah, that was a nice run in the regular season. Jacksonville, you got to show up in the playoffs now, and you got to get it done against an experienced team. And, Buffalo definitely has some issues, but it's still a team that won 12 games, and they have Josh Allen. And I think that's the part. If you are on Jacksonville, you look to the other side, you go, yeah, but Josh Allen can make this dream go away really quickly. And I think that's the biggest concern if you're on the Jacksonville side.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville too. Like, I think it's interesting with Travis Etienne and what they're going to do here. Because if we look at the concern with the Bills in this matchup, there are a few, because like we've said, every team in the playoffs this year has a red flag or two, right? They have something that we can nitpick. And I think with the Bills in this matchup, I'm looking at what they can do to stop the ground game and what they've been in terms of allowing big plays. They've given up 28 gains of 15 yards or more on the ground, which is the most of any postseason team. Now, the other side of this is that Travis Etienne has not been breaking off these big runs week in and week out. They're 27th in the league in turning rush attempts into gains of 15 plus yards. So it's not like we're looking at this and saying Travis Etienne to the moon, but that does make a recipe for maybe this Jacksonville team to get a little bit of an edge if we do see Travis Etienne break off one or two big runs, because I think that might be the difference maker here. Again, we haven't seen it much this season. We've seen a few flashes of that, and it's going to be interesting to see where this could potentially be his final game with Jacksonville. But I think that's another part of this team where if you are betting on Travis Etienne and you are betting on the Jacksonville Jaguars to win, maybe it is with him a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, that's been one of the issues for Buffalo this year, defending the run. They've been a little bit better lately, but it would help if you got ETN going, and that certainly would create some play action, open up the passing game as well.
And who, besides Josh Allen, who are we going to on this team? And James Cook, are you taking a bet on Khalil Shakir in this game this weekend? I don't know. Like these receivers, Kincaid, Knox. I don't know. Maybe they go with some of their tight ends, but I just don't know if you want to go that far.
It's been the story all year. They just spread it around so much. I mean, Khalil Shakir has been, I guess, the one guy you could count on, but the ceiling is just not there at all. I mean, you're looking, I guess, in a guillotine, he's kind of safe, right? You'll get your 10 points, and then, it's a high floor. But the ceiling is just not there. Not a lot of touchdowns. They just spread it around. I mean, it's the thing that we've been talking about with Buffalo. They just lack that number one receiver. We've been wanting it ever since Stephon Diggs left, and they haven't done anything to upgrade. And it's just a bunch of receivers, and it's a problem for them.
I mean, and Khalil Shakir, we'll see if that ends up being their downfall, right? Because we talked about that when the trade deadline passed and the team said, well, we were looking at Jalen Waddle, and then they didn't do anything with it. But Khalil Shakir is projected right now 9.4 fantasy points. That makes him wide receiver 17 on the week if that holds. It's just not good. So I'd go James Cook, Josh Allen. Again, these projections can be found at fantasylife.com. We appreciate everyone hanging out with us as always. We're going to be with you back on Friday, same time here. Enjoy your Thursday, and we're going to see you then.